Welcome to Gemara Academy. In this class we will learn Tosfos Divrei Maschil V'hayitzias Ketani. Let's begin. V'hayitzias Ketani. This is the point in the Gemara where we answered, was the final answer, which we accepted as the answer to our question that why is it that our Mishnah says Yitzias HaShabbos and says that there are 8 cases, and the Mishnah Masechta Shavuos says Yitzias HaShabbos and counts 4 cases. And the Gemara answered, the reason is because since in Masechta Shabbos is the main place to discuss the topic of Shabbos, so we count all the cases of Yitzias. We count the Chayiv cases and the Pater cases, and that totals 8. However, in Masechta Shavuos, since it's not the place to discuss, it's not the main place to discuss the topic of Shabbos, we only count the cases that are Chayiv and not the cases that are Pater. On that, the Gemara asked, but we still only have 2 cases. We have the Itzah of the Ani and the Itzah of the Balabayas. There's only a total of 2 cases when you look at the Chayiv, when the person did the whole Malacha. The Gemara answered, we're not just counting the Itzah of the Ani and the Itzah of the Balabayas, we're also counting the Hachnasa. On that, the Gemara asked, but it says Yitzias a Shabbos Shtayim Shin Arba. If we're counting Yitzias, you can only count Itzahis. There are only 2. So Tosfos now will explain. We'll discuss this question. It says Tosfos, Loi parich ela amasnisin de Shavuos. This question is only on the Mishnah of Shavuos, that the Mishnah of Shavuos says Yitzias. How could it also include Hachnasas? Why is the question only on that Mishnah? To have a kula l'chiyuva, since all of them are chayiv. If all the cases in Masechta Shavuos are chayiv cases, then you only have 2 Eitzais. The only way to get 4 cases that are chayiv is if you include Achnasa, and then the question is, but it says Yitzias. And you'll only find 2. You'll only find 2 Eitzais that are chayiv. And if you're including the Achnasas, then I have a question. It says Yitzias. However, in our Mishnah, the fact that our Mishnah says there are 8 cases, it's not a question. How do you have 8 cases without including Achnasa? You must be including Achnasa, but it says Yitzias. That won't be a question, because you could actually find 8 cases of Yitzias. And Tosfos will show us how. For example, if they're not all going to be a chayiv, because our Mishnah, since it's the main place to discuss Shabbos, counts the chayiv and the pater. You could have 8 cases of Eitzah. Let's see. He's going to describe 4 for the Ani, and then you have another 4, the same for the Balabais. Shtayim, there are 2. What are they? He's going to explain them in Shtayim Shein Arba. Shtayim, the Eitzah sheyesh bo chiyuv chatas. There's 2 of Eitzah. One that has in it a chiyuv chatas. So that's where the Ani extends his hand inwards and picks up an item in Rosh Hashanah and brings it out. That's Eitzah, that's chayiv. And then upatar of al-asr, the asir the chiyuv chatas. And then there's the patar of al-asr that brings to chiyuv chatas, which is that the balabayis did the akira, but the ani is the one that took it out and put it down. So here we have 2 cases: whether ani did the whole thing, or when he took it out and put it down. What's shehin arba? Shehin dalid. Patar of al-asr the loy asir the chiyuv chatas. There's the patar of al-asr that doesn't bring to chiyuv chatas. That's when the balabayis lifted it up and brought it out, but the ani put it down. And then upatar mutter. Then there's the case of patar mutter where the ani did nothing. The balabayis rather did the Akira, brought it out and put it down, but it's another case because the Ani was present. He was there. So we have 4 cases of Eitzah for the Ani, where he did the whole Malacha, where he just pulled it out and put it down, where he just put it down, or where he just stood there without doing anything. Ba'ani and the Ani, v'chein ba'asher, and so too in the Asher, the Pirush Riva b'samach. This will all fit according to the Riva's explanation, that when we say Asir l'dei chiyuv chatas, which is the Asir that brings to chiyuv chatas, it's not the person who does the Akira, but rather it's the person who brought over. Only according to him will it fit. And if you look at the flowchart, it'll explain over there. In the flowchart part of this class, it'll explain over there why it only fits according to Riva. And so with this Tosfos explains that the question of Hayitzias Katani is only on the Mishnah in Shavuos, and it's not on our Mishnah. Now Tosfos will say how this explanation answers a different question that a person can ask, that comes up. And this is the reason why earlier on, Kimishani, when we answer, the initial answer to resolve why here we count 8 cases and in Shavuos we count 4 was Kimishana, when we answered Hacha the Iker Shabbos, here where it's the main place to discuss Shabbos, who it is. Tani Avis told us, it taught Avis and told us, Lehava Matzeh Lemifrach Vayitzias Katani. We couldn't ask earlier on, but it says Yitzias. In other words, let's explain that last part of Tosfos. Earlier on we said that we count Avis until we count 8 cases because our Mishnah is counting the Avis and the told us, and in Shavuos, it counts 4 cases because it's only counting the Avis. So you can't ask, how could you have 8 cases of Yitzias? Because you could. And you can't ask, over there we're not going to ask, how do you have 4 cases of Yitzias? Because there's a stronger question, a much earlier question, which is, if you're only counting Avis, that doesn't include Achnasa. It already doesn't include Achnasa on its own. So therefore, this explains why this question, Vayetzias Katani, is only asked on this answer and was not asked on the first answer. So we did two things. Number one, we explained the question, and that explained to us why this question only comes up here and not on our first answer.